Hello, and thanks for listening in with us today. I don't do many narrative videos, but we did just finish up at the Passport to Freedom conference in Cancun and really wanted to share some valuable information with our listeners. I also want to take a brief moment and thank Andrew Henderson and the Nomad Capitalist team for making that summit a great success. Now, having been in precious metals for a number of years and having had the opportunity to speak with a variety of precious metals investors, I've found their experiences, they're not always so perfect. So I want to take today, talk a little bit more about a one-stop solution to some common problems faced by bullion investors and those that are actually keen on moving their assets offshore. But before I go on, let me introduce myself and our company. My name is Eric Highsmith, and I work with a fully integrated precious metals fabricator based in Arizona by the name of Scottsdale Mint. It's been about 8 years ago now that the vision of a truly great precious metals company with a focus on consumer bullion started with our company president. While leading the North American mining practice for Willis Group, he handled risk management and insurance for some of the world's largest mining companies: Hecla, Sarco, Goldcorp, just to name a few. During these years, he realized a significant gap existed between the professional side of mining and refining versus the environment for retail bullion and its availability to consumers. At the time, there was really no mint with a single focus on producing precious metals that had global brand appeal. In 2008, the Scottsdale Silver brand was born, with a keen focus on today's consumer bullion market. Now, at Scottsdale Mint, we do things quite a bit differently. We like to call it putting the precious back in precious metals. Well, by the time 2012 rolled around, we were engaged in significant trade volumes to the Asia-Pacific region. And in an attempt to better service our partners in the East, we set out to identify a vaulting facility that could assist not only in storage, but trading and logistics as well. We soon set our sights on a vaulting company by the name of the Singapore Precious Metals Exchange, or SGPMX for short. Now, the idea to offer retail clients the ability to store with SGPMX quickly came to the forefront, as our buyers had expressed interest in divesting from the United States for a variety of reasons. However, at first glance, we all know holding gold and silver it may not seem like an easy investment to manage logistically. So, some of the pain points our clients had expressed were, where do I put it? How am I going to insure it? What about liquidity? How about moving it offshore? Is that going to be inexpensive? And then once it's there, do I even need to report it? These were questions we knew we needed to answer. If not, somebody else would eventually. So, Scottsdale Mint, in conjunction with SGPMX and several other service providers, set out to provide solutions in an easy, affordable, and even anonymous structure. At first glance, you'll quickly realize that Singapore Precious Metals Exchange is not just another gold vaulting company. With the build-out of their integrated trade platform and segregated vaulting arrangements, the exchange has positioned itself to quickly achieve its aspiration of returning investments in precious metals to a tangible and physical means, free of derivatives. To do this, they would provide an independent market-making system based on newfound price discovery mechanisms. Now, those already trading in physical understand the importance of this philosophy. The paper markets for gold and silver, they're extremely small, especially when compared to equity and currency markets around the world. Therefore, the possibility for manipulation exists, and the potential for volatility even magnified. Some believe we're already witnessing this in exchanges in the US and in Europe. Now, a brief history of the exchange really helps to illustrate some significant milestones on their way to fulfilling this aspiration. The idea for SGPMX was actually born in 2011 with now CEO Mr. Victor Fu. He quickly put ideas into action and launched Singapore Precious Metals Exchange in June of 2013. And shortly thereafter, Jim Sinclair, dubbed as Mr. Gold himself, was named executive chairman of the board, providing invaluable insight and guidance along the way. The first trade on the exchange was none other than Jim Rogers, an outspoken proponent of gold and of Singapore. Now, not long after trade began, Scottsdale Mint signed on as a sole certified broker for SGPMX, serving the North America region. And in 2014, the exchange began really gaining traction with features in mainstream media, including CNBC, Bloomberg, and several other network outlets. Not to mention also opening new markets in Hong Kong and Thailand just this year. Now, I believe there are 5 key differentiators that separate SGPMX from other vaults around the world. The location and state-of-the-art facilities alone add significant value to the proposition. However, I can tell you'll be hard-pressed to find another vault that incorporates a variety of services within a one-stop solution. SGPMX offers fully segregated and dedicated storage. Therefore, your exact coins or bars stay yours. They're not commingled with others, nor do you ever own a piece of a bar like you would in a pool account. Now, here's something really neat. If you have metal that you possess on your own, whether it be at home or in a safety deposit box or maybe in other vaults, there's a transfer service that allows you to safely and discreetly move your metal to SGPMX vaults without a forced liquidation, something I'll touch on a little more later. Once your metal is vaulted, you can even visit it in person, and there may come a time when you wish to sell. This can easily be done from the exchange's online trading platform, providing liquidity 24/7. And as I previously had mentioned, notable leadership consists of Jim Sinclair and executives from audit firms and legal groups. To top things off, SGPMX has zero Western ownership. They are not subject to U.S. laws that may require U.S. companies operating abroad to report clients' holdings, such as Brinks, for instance. This provides peace of mind that your assets are truly offshore. Now, I firmly believe if James Bond were to store some gold in a vault, it would absolutely be at the Singapore Freeport. This is one of 2 third-party facilities where SGPMX vaults clients' metal. The Freeport is Swiss-owned and has a sister vault located in Luxembourg. And with the wealth transfer that has occurred from west to east in recent years, the facility now finds itself storing more Picassos and other fine art than what can be found in Switzerland vaults these days. SGPMX has also partnered with Certicisco for storage of client metal as well. Certicisco actually serves as the auxiliary police force of Singapore and is very well respected within the region. In today's vaulting environment, transparency is vital to any relationship. What better way to ensure full transparency than to build a series of third-party checks and balances? SGPMX has achieved this by partnering with industry-leading companies and placing them under their structure to act as controls on one another. From independent vaulting arrangements to quarterly audits and even 48-hour on-demand audits, the exchange assists to provide peace of mind throughout the entire relationship. They also work with precious metals manufacturers to authenticate metal entering their ecosystem, and, of course, partner with the best logistics agents to ensure safe and insured transport of your assets. Now, speaking of safe transport, one of the main questions I get from clients, especially here in the U.S., is how can I move precious metals I already possess into SGPMX for storage and trading? Well, up until now, that answer typically would involve what I like to call a forced liquidation. For example, if you have gold and silver stored here in the United States, but want to store that metal overseas, possibly Singapore, maybe Switzerland, wherever, If the vault custodian is going to provide you with liquidity on your metal, then they need to first ensure that it is authentic. So, what is the easiest way for them to achieve this? A forced liquidation, of course. Under that structure, you'll be forced to sell in the U.S., wire funds overseas, and then buy back the metal in the location you are storing. Easy enough for the vault custodian, but I guarantee you this method can be financially painful for most investors. Because two things occur under a forced liquidation. First off, if the investor has been purchasing gold and silver for any length of time and then sells, well, that may trigger a taxable event, whereby they're subject to capital gains on that sale. Secondly, if the investor is selling, he is likely selling at a discount to spot, and then will have to repurchase that same metal at a premium to spot. Depending on the product, depending on the metal type, this alone could cost 5 to maybe 15% of the overall value. To address this issue, SGPMX partnered with us here at Scottsdale Mint, not only to assist with verification services, but to also facilitate export and documentation for clients' precious metals. From here, the Asset Transfer Service was born, also known as ATS for short. Under the ATS structure, investors can have gold and silver picked up from their residential or commercial address, shipped and insured to Scottsdale Mint facilities for verification, and then exported on to Singapore for storage under their SGPMX account. It is important to note that the verification services include non-destructive testing methods. However, the client does have the option to remanufacture their metal into differing denominations. An example of this would be someone who holds 1,000-ounce silver bars. They want these in the form of 1-ounce or maybe 10-ounce bars. Scottsdale Mint will then convert the incoming metal into that of their choice. Even situations where investors want to swap one metal for another, these are achieved through the ATS service. And not to mention, you have the ability to send in jewelry for conversion into bullion as well. Whichever route is used, the entire ATS process is efficient and well documented. Full visibility is available to the client through authentication and testing records, along with the export documents and customs permitting. One of the best parts about asset transfer is we make it easy. It is an all-inclusive and streamlined process, meaning Scottsdale Mint handles all aspects, right down to providing you the necessary packaging material to get your bullion on the road. I'd say from start to finish, it's typically around 2 to 3 weeks to fully complete an ATS, and the costs for the service are very reasonable. Specific quotes can be provided by either contacting Scottsdale Mint or SGPMX. These days, it seems just about every dealer is offering precious metals IRAs. But what if you want your IRA offshore? Well, one of the added benefits of working with SGPMX is they also allow for storage of precious metals IRAs within their vaults. Now, in order to move your IRA offshore, a few steps need to be taken first. The process starts with an introduction to U.S. tax attorney Stuart Patton, who specializes in U.S. tax law and will assist to move funds into specific IRA custodians. From here, the process to create a new company based outside of the United States is put into motion. The offshore company will become the only direct investment of the client's precious metals IRA. Once the offshore company is established and an account with SGPMX created, the client may then lock in qualifying gold and silver items to be vaulted within the exchange. To top things off, Mr. Patton will also ensure 100% completion and compliance of required tax paperwork to be filed, and not to mention continued ongoing support even after formation. So, moving your IRA offshore may seem a bit complicated to some. However, the process is made easy when the right experts with the required knowledge base are directly engaged with the client in a very unique and exclusive format. Let's talk liquidity. Now, I think we all can agree that precious metals are rather liquid assets in most environments. However, your typical liquidity path leads you to a sale. A resonating question I hear over and over is, how can I tap into the value of my precious metals without selling? Well, until now, this was merely a fantasy of most precious metals investors. Recently, SGPMX unveiled a program by which their account holders can access the cash value of their gold without sacrificing their long positions in the metal. Under this gold monetization option, clients may access up to 50% of the value of their gold stored at SGPMX in the form of USD. In essence, it allows you to spend gold-backed dollars at an option fee of around 3%. This is especially attractive for those looking to access capital quickly, but need to avoid a taxable event such as a sale, and they don't want to divest from precious metals themselves. Currently, the program is only available for gold stored with SGPMX, however, may expand to others in the very near future. When researching precious metals storage companies, there is seemingly a limitless number of choices in the marketplace today. However, there are very few that incorporate numerous benefits all under one roof. With this in mind, SGPMX is simplifying a storage world of difference. Whether it is affordable, insured, segregated vaulting you seek, or fully transparent, world-class facilities, Singapore Precious Metals Exchange offers a solution in a highly sought-after jurisdiction. Many investors even feel stuck with no reasonable insurance options for their metal that's in their homes or safety deposit boxes. And even if they did want to move it, how can they affordably without facing a forced liquidation? That answer, of course, lies in the asset transfer service, allowing for the seamless relocation of metal to SGPMX vaults at the Singapore Freeport. These transfers are done weekly and come with complete client confidentiality. And once there, you will have full control and visibility of your holdings. Selling and buying is just a mouse click away. So, for more detailed information, not only on SGPMX, but Scottsdale Mint or any of the services covered here today, please contact us using any of the methods listed on your screen. Again, I appreciate everyone listening in, and on behalf of Singapore Precious Metals Exchange and my colleagues here at Scottsdale Mint, we truly hope that the services presented will help fill any voids in your precious metals portfolios.